Today, we're starting a massive new series, ranking every episode of The Big Bang Theory, season by season, from worst to best. And what better place to start than the season that started it all, Season 1. Season 1 was short, only 17 episodes, but it introduced us to the genius physicists Sheldon and Leonard, their nerdy crew Howard and Raj, and of course, Penny, their neighbor who turned their world upside down. Some episodes were absolute classics, others, well, not so much. Let's see how your rankings compare to mine. Kicking things off at number 17 is the Cooper-Hofstadter polarization. This is the episode where Leonard wants to present their laser invention at a conference, but Sheldon refuses to go because he thinks the presentation is beneath him. While it's a decent depiction of the professional relationship and Sheldon's ego, it honestly felt repetitive. We already know that Sheldon undermines Leonard constantly, and this episode didn't add anything new to that dynamic. The humor was mild, the emotional tension felt stale, and it ended without any meaningful resolution. Overall, it's just one of the least memorable episodes of this entire season. Number 16 is the Nerdvana Annihilation. The guys buy a full-scale time machine replica, and while nerd culture references are the heart of the show, Penny's reaction here felt unnecessarily cruel. Sure, Penny often serves as the normal person perspective, but here, her frustration comes off as mean-spirited instead of comedic, which made the tone pretty awkward. The jokes about nerd collecting weren't fresh, they leaned heavily into the stereotype of men wasting money on childish hobbies. The highlight was seeing Sheldon argue about the ethics of using the time machine to change the past, but overall, it felt more like filler than progression. At number 15 is the Jerusalem Duality. This one had so much potential. Sheldon meets a 15-year-old physics prodigy who makes him feel inferior, so Sheldon decides to switch fields to engineering. The concept is gold. Sheldon's confidence shattered by a literal teenager? That's comedic goldmine material. But the execution was lacking. The prodigy character was one-dimensional, the engineering scenes were rushed, and the conflict ended abruptly, with no satisfying comedic or emotional payoff. Imagine if they brought the prodigy back later as a recurring rival or something. Missed opportunity, and that's why it lands this low. Number 14 is the Fuzzy Boots Corollary. Leonard, discouraged after seeing Penny date someone else, decides to ask out Leslie Winkle instead. The episode explored Leonard's insecurity and fear of rejection, which are important parts of his character. But Leslie's bluntness was more dismissive than comedic, and their chemistry felt a bit forced. There were no big comedic set pieces, no deep character revelations, and the ending just felt hollow. It's not a bad episode, none of Season 1 truly are, but compared to others, it's pretty forgettable. At number 13 is the Pork Chop Indeterminacy. This episode introduced Missy, Sheldon's twin sister, who instantly captures the attention of Leonard, Howard, and Raj. While Missy was a refreshing character, grounded, confident, and unimpressed by their nerdy awkwardness, the storyline leaned too much on the cliche of nerds drooling over a girl. Howard's creepiness reached peak levels, Raj couldn't even speak to her, and Leonard's attempt to impress her were awkward rather than funny. Missy shutting them down at the end was satisfying, but it wasn't enough to save the episode from feeling pretty trope-heavy. Number 12 goes to the Pancake Batter Anomaly. This episode gave us Soft Kitty, which became an iconic recurring gag throughout the series. However, this episode focused almost entirely on Sheldon being sick and unbearably needy. Yes, it's in character, but it was grating to watch for an entire 20 minutes. Penny stepping up to care for him added a sweet dynamic, but overall, the storyline felt thin. Once you get past the Soft Kitty novelty, which is the only reason it's so high up in the first place, there wasn't much substance to revisit here. Coming in at 11 is the Middle-earth Paradigm. This Halloween party episode had all the ingredients for greatness. Nerd costumes, awkward party interactions, and Penny getting her moment of empowerment with her ex. Sheldon's Doppler effect costume is easily one of the funniest gags in Season 1. But Leonard's desperate attempt to win Penny back from her ex-boyfriend felt more sad than funny, and Howard's pickup attempts were as cringy as ever. Overall, it's a solid episode with memorable moments, but the emotional beats didn't land as well as they could have. At number 10 is the Grasshopper Experiment. Raj finds out he can talk to women after drinking, and his newfound confidence was so refreshing to watch. The karaoke duet with Penny was comedic gold and showed off Kunal Nair's underrated comedic timing. However, the subplot of Howard trying to hook up with Raj's arranged date felt forced and borderline disrespectful. The concept of arranged marriages is a sensitive cultural topic, and the episode treated it purely as a comedic device. We see an opportunity to add depth to Raj's backstory. Number 9 is the big brand hypothesis. Sheldon breaking into Penny's apartment to clean and reorganize everything is hilarious in concept and execution. It cemented his OCD tendencies early on and showed just how clueless he is about social boundaries. The comedic tension when Penny finds out was perfectly acted by Kaley Cuoco. However, the episode does feel slightly unsettling, since it's a massive violation of privacy played purely for laughs. That nuance prevents it from cracking the top 5 for me. Number 8 goes to the Lubbenfeld decay. Leonard lies to avoid seeing Penny's play, but Sheldon spins it into an elaborate fake backstory involving a fake cousin with a drug problem. This was a classic sitcom escalation done right. The humor came from Sheldon's inability to keep it simple and Leonard's awkwardness at trying to maintain the lie. It's not the most emotional episode, but in terms of pure comedic structure, it's one of the season's strongest. Number 7 is the dumpling paradox. Howard hooks up with Raj's visiting friend, forcing Raj to crash with Sheldon and Leonard. Meanwhile, Penny joins their Halo night. This episode was a great showcase of Penny integrating into the group, even if temporarily. Watching her trash talk while gaming was peak comedy Penny, and Sheldon's meltdown over disrupted routines added perfectly balanced chaos. It's a classic group dynamic shuffle episode that the show does so well. Number 6 is the hamburger postulate. Leonard hooks up with Leslie Winkle, thinking it might turn into a relationship, only for her to treat it so casually. This episode explored Leonard's insecurity and need for validation, while Sheldon's meltdown over breaking their weekly routine added comedic brilliance. It blended emotional vulnerability and nerd chaos in a way that made early Big Bang Theory so special. At number 5 is the Bat Jar Conjecture. The Physics Bowl storyline was pure nerd fantasy. Sheldon getting kicked off the team for being unbearable, forming his own team, then losing in humiliating fashion. It was comedic justice. And there's a reason this episode is all over TikTok and YouTube Shorts as well. This episode was packed with scientific references, intellectual one-upmanship, and group loyalty. It showcased what made the show unique. Smart jokes that didn't pander to viewers, combined with human moments of friendship. Number 4 has to go to the luminous fish effect. Sheldon gets fired for challenging his boss, spirals into manic hobby mode, luminous fish, homemade noodles, glow-in-the-dark projects, until his mom finally has to come to rescue him with religion-based field trips. This episode highlighted Sheldon's brilliance and instability, while also grounding him in human vulnerability. Laurie Metcalf's debut as Mary Cooper was also phenomenal, and the blend of chaotic humor with real emotional grounding made this an early standout. Coming in at number 3 is the peanut reaction. Penny realizes Leonard has never had an actual birthday party, so she throws him one, leading to chaos when they need to rush to buy a cake and his peanut allergy triggers a comedic near-death scenario. This episode perfectly balanced humor with heart. Penny's care for Leonard went beyond surface friendship, giving us hints of her deeper feelings. The chaos felt organic, and every character got their comedic moment to shine, making it just so fun to watch. The runner-up has to be the Tangerine Factor, the season finale. Leonard finally asks Penny out, and both spend the episode overthinking every single detail. It was funny, sweet, and satisfying. The build-up throughout the whole season led to this perfect payoff, ending on a hopeful note. The nervousness felt real and relatable, and it set the stage for so much of what made future seasons compelling. And finally, number 1 has to go to Pilot. As the first episode, it has to introduce every character perfectly. Sheldon's quirks, Leonard's awkwardness, Penny's warmth, Howard's creepiness, and also Raj's silence. The writing was sharp, the pacing was flawless, and it instantly made us care about these socially awkward scientists and their bubbly new neighbor. It's one of the strongest sitcom pilots of all time and set up 12 seasons of brilliant, nerdy comedy. And that's my definitive ranking of every episode from season 1 of The Big Bang Theory. Did your favorites make it to the top? Let me know your full ranking in the comments below. I read every single one. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe because next week, we're ranking every episode from season 2. Until then, bazinga.